And we're live. Hello, my fellow engineers. My name is Freedom, and we have T-Von over here. What's up, T-Von?
Hello, hello. Just another fellow Gundam fan. Just, having a good time over here, I guess.
Yeah. You recently just got done playing Gundam Battle Operations, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how did that
Never a
go?
dull moment.
Never dull moment. Yeah, it never is. It's pretty fun. So, actually, if you guys are actually watching the live stream right now, we're actually, well, not me, but T-Von over here is playing Gundam versus Zeta Gundam, which, in my opinion, one of the best, one of the better, anyways, Gundam games that came out of the PlayStation 2.
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe it's like what the Extreme games are based off of, right?
I'm sure. I mean, they go for different things, but I'm pretty sure this is definitely where it started off. The whole. Because this was an arcade game as well before it was brought to the console. So they all started the same.
Hmm? Yeah, not only that, but like I don't know, just the foundation of it's about the same. All right, guys. So we apologize for yesterday. If anybody was waiting on us to go on live, we were having some technical difficulties, so we had to reschedule last night's live into tonight. Excuse me. So actually, so the episode was actually about the pretty much like the Zaku's Legacy. You know, the creator Okawa. I believe I'm saying his name wrong. He's the guy who created the Zaku, specifically the Zaku 2. Now, what was fascinating was that the higher sponsorships and executives were like, you know what, we want complete control of the Gundam and his allies because the main idea was to sell toys. So before they had no plans whatsoever to sell the Zaku as a toy. So yeah, how dare they? Yeah. So but in a way though, it did give Okawa the all the freedom that he needs to create the Zaku without any limit. Now, however, though, like there was two drafts, one by the man himself, Tamino, with the same name, different design, by the way, different design, kind of looked like a Fallout armor. And then the other one was Okawa, which is actually the same style as the Zaku 2. Tamino fell in love with it. He just asked for one thing to be changed. The Zaku's originally had a visor, kind of like with the gems. And if I could pull up what Tamino told Aqua, they actually had an interview. I don't know how recent, to be honest with you. I wasn't able to get that much of the details, but I was able to get the quotes and the interviews. But he wanted the Zaku to be a clear communication of these three things: being inhuman, that it is the other, and that is the enemy. So it took Okawa like a week to figure out like a new draft and redesign, and it came up, the Zaku 2 that we know and love. So T-Von actually over here, you pretty much love the Zaku design, right?
I'm a very, very big fan, especially of the Zaku 2 F2. I like its minimalistic and close approach to the original Zaku 2, but it adds a little quality of life features to just more updated look.
That's right.
So I appreciate that. I like the basics.
Yeah, and he said his inspiration was somebody wearing a suit of armor. That's why the Zaku was designed like you could see you could tell the shoulder spike. This is just an arm piece of armor laying on top of his shoulder. Same thing with his shield on the side. Yeah, yeah, with the skirt. Yeah, and he says that he wanted to make sure that all that was sticked out, and he actually got for the face. He said he actually got an inspiration from a scuba kit. Like when yeah. Yeah, the things that that inspires us. And also, guys, before we jumped into the Zaku's Legacy, Timon, did you know that Gundam is one of the top 15 richest franchise? Did you know it's worth more than Batman?
No way.
It's worth more than Batman, and Batman was made in in the late 1930s. I actually,
Makes sense.
yeah. That
Makes sense.
so so Gundam Gundam is the I believe is number 14 on the list. Batman's number 15. So I do not know how recent this scale is. Let me look at my notes again. Um, okay, so I don't have a year, but when it comes to like merchandise sales, like when it comes to like model toy sales and all that, that's where Gundam makes most of his money, obviously. So, we're probably looking at so about 1.85 million is on games, 1.40 million is on entertainment. 1.40 million entertainment, 1.85 games, 25.9 billion on model kits and merchandise. Billion with a B. Billion. Yeah. It's crazy because Batman, when it comes to merchandising, is 20 billion. So it falls short under 5. But when it comes to, I believe that's entertainment, obviously Batman comes on top. 1939 was when the Batman comics came out. And it is crazy. I thought that was very interesting. So also, guys, those who are listening, T-Von is trying to set up a live stream for his Gundam Battle Operations 2 gameplays. And I recommend, honestly, he is a great player. I don't know what Canada's doing. They're probably training their soldiers using Gundam Battle Operations as their training grounds when they make their own mobile suits over there, And I've seen the designs, by the way. I've seen the blueprints. I know you guys are basing it on the Butler Gundam. With a little steering wheel. Turn A? Makes sense. Canadian turn A. Yeah, turn E. I had to. It was just there. The opportunity was there. Oh my god. Blew that Rick Dom in half. Yeah, that worked a little too well. So yeah, guys. So the Zaku Legacy. So when it came down to the MSO the MSO4, or well, actually started at the MSO3. That right there was the earliest prototype, and then the MSO3 turned into the MSO4 prototype Zaku. Granted, it was a simple design, very instant. It was very poor cost efficiency, but its development later created to what we know and love as the Zaku 1, which is the MSO5A. Which was only 27 was made by the time it got into full production, and it went up against the Zuda, which was the EMS-03, which later became the EMS-10 whenever it was introduced during the 1 Year War. What do you think, Devon, compared to the Zuda with the Zaku? What was crazy is that it's just two different companies just winning a contract. It wasn't Zeonic. No. Peasant makes some fine mobile suits. But oh my god. I mean, yeah, it worked for the Federation. Why not make your own gun tank? But oh man, it was supposed to be. Originally, it was what Char piloted to defeat the Gundam. What do you mean, well?
He had a plan for it. I'm guessing if it was as spectacular as the fight scenes of the regular anime, I'm guessing it would have been an interesting fight anyways. But there's no way Dragon Ball Z is
No,
gonna be caught by surprise.
no. But I want to talk about more about the Zuda though. Like, personally, the Zuda was better than the Zaku one, but the Zaku one had the reliability, meaning like it doesn't explode when it gives it its all.
So this just means though, so if the Zuda was using a prototype of the Dom's engine, that just means the Dom was just being developed at the same time, eh?
No, the Dawn wasn't made until like till during the 1 year war. It was just they couldn't figure out like to give anything like stronger than what the engine was giving out. But whenever the Zuda became the EMS 10, you got to think the Zuda was already 5 years old, and they actually went with a I think Zeonic helped them out, but they went with a different company when it comes to parts, and their parts were better, and it actually fixed some of the issues the Zuda had. And then, obviously with the Xeon propaganda, we have a mobile suit that could go up against the Gundam and the Federation head to head. Which, yeah, I kind of like the propaganda that came with the Zuda. They were saying it's like one of the most like advanced mobile suits to ever came out, but secretly it was just an upgraded 5-year-old mobile suit. Yeah. That thing is quick. Also, as a quick note, before we get back into more of the Zaku's Legacy, so as of yesterday, and we were talking about this, they started construction on the new Gundam statue. First being the RX-78, second being the Unicorn, now the RX-78. Now, it's not going to have fin funnels. It's not. But it has like a weird booster in the back. I think they're going to use that to pretty much like hold it up. I don't know. It looks like a fin funnel with a booster. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird.
Is that the one? Is that the one you showed? Me?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the part. Checking the Bandai spirits and all that stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of people had there were some issues. People were talking about their concerns about the way they presented it. They're worried about like the new Gundam's not the new Gundam without its fin funnels, which I'm fine with it. I'm fine without it. I get their concerns, but I think they're really worried about like the balancing, tipping over and everything.
That's weird, bro. Because I wonder, is that why they did it? Because there's no way they could have just made it out of a light material with fin funnels. That way it would.
Well, I'm sure probably make it hollow to keep the weight down, but
That's what I'm saying.
they're probably like there's probably no point spending the extra money. From what they make 25 billion off of merchandise, I'm sure they could give up a couple dollars for it, um, but that's what it is. What it is. But that is a good news. I do think a new Gundam was long overdue. It's definitely nice that they're doing that. Personally, like I would love to go out there and see it myself one day, probably like whenever this pandemic's over. Now that's the good news. The bad news, and again, we were talking about this yesterday. They are closing one of the Gundam cafes. January 20. Yeah, January. Just one of them. Akari Abara. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It. Oh yeah, it is big. It's been open since 2010. They let out a letterhead, saying unfortunately, we can't stay open any longer as of January 2022. So if you guys are planning a trip over there, or if you guys are able to get down over there, or you guys are visiting over there, I'll check it out. Check it out while you guys still can. Um, I know a guy. He's a YouTuber. He talks about his experience. I forgot his name. I watched one or two of his videos. He, records like his experience in there, and it looks phenomenal in there. Makes me a little jealous. I'll be honest with you. So, let's see. So as for the Zaku 1, so the Zaku 1 went up against the Zeta. Zaku 1 showed reliability, and they only made 27 of them. And after some time, mind you, this is we're talking about UC 0074. This is 5 years before the 1 Year War. And then when it came, obviously after the Zaku 1 Type A was made, the Type B was made a little later, and that's when they went to full production with that. And the accurate numbers that I've seen is about 800 to 850. I haven't seen anything more than 850. So it's a pretty good number. Most countries in the world don't even have that much aircrafts, let alone tanks. Yeah. So, pretty interesting. And then UC 0077, Kasuya was actually in charge of the Zaku 2 project. Worried about, the Federation was going to have mobile suits. So she was like, let's give him a He-Hawk. The initial design had 2 shoulder pads. And we're talking about the Zaku 2 early production, like the first production type. It was fitted with spike armor. Well, actually, no, it even has spike armor on its shoulder pads. It's just 2 shoulder pads. Just a Zaku with 2 shoulder pads. No spikes. But Kasuya thought it was very insignificant. So whenever the designers went back to the drawing board, a few months later, it came back with the Type C Zaku, which the Type Z's MS06C Zaku 2 were the ones to take part of the 1 week war. And let you know, I don't think anybody beats the kill counts for the Zakus. These mobile suits got, huh? Yeah, you gotta think, like, they were responsible to help bringing down a colony on Earth during the war. Well, in the first week, half the population died. Half. 1 week, half. Half. Literal, they dropped a colony on Sydney. Yeah. Just a flesh wound. Yeah, it's just a crater, on top of a city where it used to be at. I don't know. It was a bit extreme, but I don't know if there was a way for the Federation to... Like, they had to see that coming. I mean... I don't know. I'm
sure some of the big wigs was like, they were like, okay, well, this is that. But behind the scenes, people were like, oh, this is good for business. This is going to give us an excuse to fight back harder than ever.
Well, that kind of bite them back on the behind because... So after the colony drop, they were doing the Antarctic treatment or the Atlantic treatment treaty. My bad, treatment. They were doing the treatment. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they needed treatment after that. That was a big boo boo. Yeah. So they did a treaty, just pretty much say no more colony drops and no more nukes. That's where the Federation messed up. The Zaku C types had a radiation protection on it, which protected from radiation. So when they took it off, it made the Zaku much more lighter, much more fuel efficient, and pretty much a much more deadly machine. So because of that, yeah. So which, by the way, it was recoded from the MS-06C to the MS-06F, which is one of the most mass-produced mobile suits during the 1 Year War. Um, I'm seeing numbers range from 850 to 3,000. Now, considering it is what to like a two-year old model, I could probably see that. Um, Considering like how many colonies joined in, how much resources they collected from resource satellites or anywhere like that, I could see that. Um, Now, as for let me look at my notes. So that was the Type F, and the Type F was the same Zaku that actually met up with the Gundam with the accidental deployment. Yeah, for sure. Which, by the way, the Zaku, the armaments are just, it's just crazy. Um, yes, yeah. You talk about the beam bazooka. It was able to handle the beam bazooka. Oh, I know the R2 Zaku 2s can. I mean, it's the same frame. I'm pretty sure if they were able to handle it, the Zaku 2 would have been too. Well, the bazookas were recoilless. Yeah, which I fired a bazooka before. They definitely don't feel recoilless. They definitely don't. I brought I brought broke my back when I first fired one. when I fired it, it felt like it was dragging me, which made sense. Like I felt like I was going with with the rocket, like it was carrying me with it. That's what I mean. I'm saying that's what it felt like. Um, but it was fun. And by the way, we have a probably one of the most famous variants of the Zaku 2 series, the MS-06S Zaku 2 Commander type. Oh yeah, yeah. Which actually, same thing, was designed by Okawara. The was also was also known as the Zaku 2 Custom in some sources, which looks very similar to the normal Zaku. So much so that the Federation can only tell the difference by the color scheme that most pilots apply to their units, and also it does have some type of increased performance as well. So the horn doesn't necessarily means as ace pilot. It usually also means that it's just a squad leader as well, or yeah, or if they're a higher ranking pilot. Yeah. So in turn, it does have a stronger reactor compared to the regular Zaku. Actually, I have not seen anything about that. That's the crazy part. They said that the only. Oh, for sure, for sure. I know that's what the V fins are for on the Gundam. They were actually used for communications, but the horn on the Zaku 2, the only sources I seen was that it was only used to designate between commander, ace, or squad leader. Now, here's the catch to this. Now, even though it had greater thrust and acceleration, they actually had to retcon it I don't know. So in the original TV series, it was stated to be 3 times faster. You remember? Like, hey, this is 3 times faster. Yeah. Um, but in the movie trilogies, they changed it to speeds of like 1-3 faster than a normal Zaku.
That just makes the regular Zaku more terrifying.
Yeah, for sure. So it made it like when it comes to an ace pilot, dude, it became more dangerous, incredibly dangerous. Especially like, yeah, no, I'm just saying like, you got to think like the red comet. Like if it was in like his hands alone, yeah, we already know. Yeah. So I know you were talking about the J type as well. Yeah. So it was a regular Zaku. All they did was they just took out the verniers off of it. That's it. But well, that made it a better ground unit because of that. That's all they did. That's it. It made yeah. It's just a lot less weight. Yeah, they didn't have to worry about the fuel for it. Uh-huh. Yeah. So it actually made it better when it came to an environment. It could actually be briefly used underwater. So yeah. So, same weapons as it was used in space. Which the Zaku had an arsenal. He had a 120 millimeter machine gun, which, if it's a big round. Probably about as long as my arm. The wideness of it, probably across like a normal person's torso. It's big and wide. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Let's see. So, my favorite is the Zaku Tank. I do like the Zaku Tank. No, it was weaponized. It was weaponized. Because the well, there's different versions of it because whenever the 1 year war was dragged on, the Xeon just found himself being very desperate. At the including when it came to replacement parts. So believe it or not, which we already know, when it came to the Zaku 1, it was one of the advanced things that that ever came out. But when it came to the 1 year war, it was pretty much already obsolete because of the Zaku 2. Because the main point of the Zaku 2 was to get Xeon prepared for the Federation if they ever decide to make their own mobile suits. So, which it was easier for you to get parts for the Zaku 1 versus the Zaku 2 because the only thing the Zaku 1s do is just hang back. And if a pilot requests it, they could actually get a Zaku 1. And they could get their parts much more quicker. So, that's the only reason why you would still see some pilots use the Zaku 1 is because parts are just easier to come by. But abundant as they said they was, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to think, even if they did have 3,000 Zaku's, they're splitting 3,000 for every branches of the military that they have. Well, that's a lot if you think about it. Like most pilots don't even get like 5 kills throughout the whole year of the war. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, yeah. So the Zaku tank, it was just mostly because when it came to the Xeon on the ground, they were just so desperate for parts that they just started jerry rigging you know, whatever was around them. So that's what came across with the Zaku Tank. Yeah, so. And then we have the Zaku Reconnaissance, which I believe actually first appeared in MSV. And its first animated appearance was actually in Zeta Gundam. Of course, you know this, yeah. Which you know the Zaku Flipper. Yeah, MSV. Yeah, it was also in Gundam Battle Operations 2. Which, by the way, guys, I'm telling you, if you haven't played it, you have fun. You see Timon on there. He's on there all the time. If you guys don't see him running around in the if you guys see him running around in a Zagok, you know to run away. That's when he's playing serious. So, so basically, you know, they're just reconnaissance. So Zaku Reconnaissance type, Zaku Flipper, both reconnaissance type units. That's all they are. Now, Action Zaku. Now, Action Zaku does have a backstory. You know, they first appeared in MSV, which they got the first animated appearance in Zeta Gundam. They were designed by Okinawa, the guy who made the Zaku 2 designs. They were referred as short the Zaku or Action. There was a Xeon prototype that was based off the Zaku 2. Now, the thing about the Zaku, it was introduced late for the war. Originally, they was going to set it out, but with the Gundam and everything, they delayed it. It was built over a peasant, which you know a little bit about that, right, Timon? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and believe it or not, whenever the Federation captured it, they say that's where they got the concept of magnetic joint coding. Yeah, yeah. So it was very interesting. So I'm kind of like flipping through these a little quick. So I know I said deep dive, but you know, there's just so many things that Zaku's is based. I mean, you got to think like how many universes took the Zaku design. You know, we're talking about Gundam Seed, Iron Blood Orphans, you know, and also other series that came along afterwards from it. You know, you got like other mobile suits like Gyaradoga, Gyrazulu, all these mobile suits that took inspiration off the Zaku. You know, we have the Zaku Mine Layer. Now, the Zaku Mine Layer, all it was just an F-type with a mining backpack. That's all it was. Well, I said mining backpack with a mine backpack. That's all it was. Yeah, it probably was. I don't have any information about that, but I do have information that it did carry 5 times the amount of fuel than a regular Zaku. Just a mine layer. That's it. They weren't used for scouting. It was just their plan was pretty much like to set the battlefield up before the enemy showed up. That's basically it. You know, to set the battlefield to your winning conditions. Yeah. And then we got the Zakumu test type Zaku 2. Again, designed by yours truly. The Zakumu test type. Yeah, yeah, which was built during the the bishop plan. Yeah. Which, by the way, it's an okay mobile suit, by the way. But man, but the thing about it, it just says that the final Zaku variant under the bishop plan was the actual bishop, so it came afterwards from the sounds of it. From the sounds of it, dude, I'm telling you, I got all this information everywhere. Yeah, it's hard to keep things in order. Now the thing is that it used up so much power, it was only able to be filled for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you're pretty much like like a dead fish in the water. Yeah, different tactics. And then we have a Worker Zaku, which first appeared in MSV. The Worker Zaku is actually a traditional Zaku design. It was built exclusively for labor. The unit's cockpit was modified to be constructed from a cockpit of a standard construction vehicle, allowing someone without military training to pilot the suit, which is crazy because if you think about it, they just made a mobile suit that's easy to pilot. All you need is just a pirate group getting a couple of these, and yeah, it's fair. Which I still want to trust it. I'm pretty sure the armor's probably built out of glass or something. And my favorite, the post-war insurgent variants. Literally what they're called, the insurgent variants. Yeah, yeah, which makes sense. The Durasi, the MS-21 Durasi. Yeah, yeah. What do you think about the Durasi? I want to know your opinion on it. That's it. Yeah, they were desperate, and I didn't really get much into it. But the Zaku F2s, I do like the Zaku F2s. The Lost Fleet. Yeah. I got that on here actually. It's got a. It's in my later notes. But yeah, you're talking about the universal. It's like maintenance plan or something like that. Yeah, where they made the Zaku Kai and Rictom 2. Yeah. So Zaku F2 definitely probably like one of my favorite Zaku variants. Probably one of them. Probably in my top 5. It's 4% stronger reactor compared to a regular Zaku. Definitely a lot lighter. It's much more movable. Yeah, definitely probably like one of the better Zakus to have during the war. So the Durasi first appeared in 0083 Stardust Memory. It's actually designed by Mika Akinoa. After the end of the 1-year war, many of the Zeon regiments that refused to let the war end anything less than a victory retreated to the Earth Spear and went into hiding. Went into exile. These renegades' fleets slowly built up their forces, plotting to renew their conflict against the Earth forces. So let me actually bring out the armaments. Okay, so this is actually one of my separate notes. So the shield, right? It was made from battleship plating. Now it did have a beam saber, but it had its own reactor. Because the Durasi itself did not have enough power to power the beam saber. So the beam saber itself had its own little small battery, like a reactor to it. Yeah, it was unable to. So I'm pretty sure it was running on like the same reactor as the Zaku F2. Because it was using his own boosters. It was using a torso. It had what? It was using like parts from the Gatto. Yeah. Now, one thing I don't like is that it had a 40 millimeter Vulcan gun. That was his main armament during Stardust. So it was definitely under gun, but it was made to be a interceptor. So pretty much like hit the sensors. If you're lucky enough to hit him with a beam saber, that's great. But do as much damage as you can and just get the hell out.
I'm pretty sure if that thing was in the hands of an ace pilot, it would have messed stuff up. Like it would have definitely been terrifying because that thing is fast.
Oh, for sure. It's made to be an interceptor. Yeah, but because of the way it was built, his AMBAC really suffered poorly because it was built, merely for speed. That's it. Yeah, because the time it was made, it was kind of a class gun out of fire almost. Yeah, but because of the way it was built, it was merely for speed. That's it. 'Cause it was built, merely for speed. That's it. 'Cause the time it was made, it was kind of a class gun out of fire almost. Yeah, but because of the way it was built, it was merely for speed. That's it. 'Cause it was built, merely for speed. That's it. 'Cause the time it was made, it was kind of a class gun out of fire almost. Yeah, but because of the way it was built, it was merely for speed. That's it. 'Cause it was built, merely for speed. That's it. 'Cause the time it was made, it was kind of a class gun out of fire almost. Yeah, but because of the way it was built, it was merely for speed. That's it. 'Cause it was built, merely for speed. That's it. 'Cause the time it was made, it was kind of a class gun out of fire almost. Yeah, but because of the way it was built, it was merely for speed. That's it. 'Cause it was built, merely for speed. That's it. Yeah, and I do know they were in the new Zeta series too, like the movies, I think. But they made him gray. I don't know. Axis, Haman's Axis, but they colored him gray. Yeah, yeah, they're in the background, but they colored him all gray. The point, yeah, the point was to retcon him, but retcon him for Zeta. So I mean, I get the idea. The idea was to pretty much bolster their numbers. You know, they had a bunch of these broken mobile suits, and they probably had more pilots in mobile suits, so they probably just made a cheap mobile suit from whatever that they had, and just I know that the Lost Fleet in a way was working with Axis, so I'm pretty sure as a show of faith they split the designs together. Yeah, yeah. What else do we got? We got a lot. Zaku Cannon. Yeah. I do think it's underrated, but at the same time, I don't. I probably just only trust it if I was 10 miles away from the battlefield. Uh, yeah, yeah, it can't run. It just literally just walks. It's man, 180 millimeter cannon. I do like the shoulder shield. It definitely has a bigger shield than the regular Zaku. A 2-2 rocket launcher. 100 millimeter machine gun. It does use the He-Hawk, which I'm surprised it doesn't use it in the game. Zaku bazooka. And what's crazy is that 9 of them were built. Only 9 was built. Only 9. Only 9 were built. And I know we saw one during Unicorn.
What the heck? What? Only 9? I thought it was
Only 9. Only 9. Yep, only 9 were built. And that's including the rabbit type.
there's no point. It has to be on the top gun, but yeah, I'm not
I that and they were just really trying to copy the Federation's Jim Cannon. Which it is, yeah, because in theory the gun cannon itself costs as much as 4 Zaku's. Yeah. Pretty expensive. And look, the reason why I really want to dedicate today's episode to the Zaku is because you gotta think. Even if you're a mecha lover like us, you know what a Zaku is, or you have heard or it's seen references. You had to see it somewhere before. It is very iconic. It's very popular. You gotta think. Star Wars came out 2 years before Gundam did. Look how iconic the stormtroopers are. This has the same effect. They're yeah, and the Zaku, they're what? They're as big as a 4-story building. They're as wide as 4 Abram tanks if you were to put them side by side. 3. They weighed as much as 30 rhinoceros. If you were to put them against a building, about a 4-story building, 18 meters. 18 meters. Yeah, yeah. It's just which makes sense. Zaku's are more bulky because the point of this design was somebody wearing a suit of armor. Which, if you were to compare it to a gym, yeah, you could definitely tell, a Zaku was wearing a suit of armor. You, by the way, it was the United Maintenance Plan. No, so the gyms have better armor. I'll be honest with you. If I had to go in the war, if I had to place a bet if these two pilots are exactly the same skill level, same training, whatever, and they have to pick a Jim or Zaku, Jim all the way. My money's always going to be on the Jim. It had a stronger reactor. It was able to use beams. It was definitely more reliable because it was you know what I mean? Because if it's able to use beams, it's definitely able to use any type of heat signature weapons like Heat Hawks or a Heat Saber. And right, and not only that, the Zaku's don't have any means to block beams whatsoever. Like their shoulder shields, they were never able to block a beam. It was only there to block physical rounds. That's it. But
It's actually really, really, really tough when you think about it, considering that since they had no protective coatings or anything like that, or any armor regular to take it, it's like as soon as the gym just came out, man, it must have been terrifying for the Xeon pilots though.
well, the only thing the Xeon pilots had over the Federation was training and experience. Because you got to think like what most of the Federation pilots didn't get their experience until what Solomon. Most. And before that, like what, maybe a couple of deployments and that's it. Yeah. So I think the only thing that the Federation had going for them was that they had better machines, of course, but but the Xeon had better training. But Xeon was outnumbered by like 3-1, 3 to 4 to 1, something like that. And I try to find like reports. I seen as much as I seen numbers as high as 11,000 Federation mobile suits being at Abaku, and as much as 3,000 mobile suits being at Abaku for Xeon. As close to 500 on the Federation and about 200 on Xeon. Yeah, so there were, and not only that, but there was 4 fronts. So the Federation, if they split their ships up, 100 apiece, because the way the Federation did it was they split up their ships into 4 groups, and they attacked each sector, north, west, south, and east, and that's what really overwhelmed Xeon. No matter what, Xeon was not winning. They had to split. They had to split their forces on 4 fronts.
But did they see the Battle of Alpha coming?
Oh, they did. They did. It was just, how would you prepare for something like that? And especially when,
We got mobile suits now. We got
yeah. And as for the Gelgoogs, the Gelgoogs is weird because I seen numbers as low as 70. And yeah. And I was trying to read, like, they said that a lot of experienced pilots just didn't want to give up their Zakus. Because they said compared to the Gelgoog and the Regdom, it was just easier to pilot because they're already familiar with it. Which makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, which I think that's why they went ahead and gave it to the new guys, because I don't think none of the regular pilots want to take it because they think that they just had the better chances with their Zaku's alone because they are more familiar with it. They know the limitations, which makes sense. It makes sense. They don't know what to expect from a new model, and besides, the Gundam's beam rifle alone, it was out of ammo within 16 rounds. That's it. Well, all you need to do is hit it once. That's it. Yeah, ECAPs wasn't like very popular during that time. So, well, basically the beam rifle was made where it was only able to take out 16 rounds from the reactor, and that was it. It pretty much like blocked itself out because otherwise, you have no power. So that's a safety precaution. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I like about this. The point was that you got to think, man. Like, Gundam was the first real robot. It literally earned that title, real robot. And yeah, and I don't know if a lot of people knew this, but guys, Gundam was canceled. The first ever Gundam, Mobile Suit, the OG, was canceled after 3 episodes because people were horrified of what was going on in the series. They're like, "Oh my god, people are dying left and right. People are like screaming for their mothers, for crying out loud." It got a little too real, and it was canceled after 3 episodes. But what brought it back where's its toy sales? For real. It's toy sales. That's the only reason why Gundam is alive today, is because there's a lot of fans out there that says, no, we love it. Because it really shows you like another part of reality. Yeah, I understand, giant robots. We don't have it in the real world. But it shows what the pilots are going through, you know what I mean? And Gundam does a really good job of showing both sides, not just the Federation, but Zeon. It also shows you like, both sides is corrupt, both sides will do anything to cover their tracks, even if it means murdering their own men. And I'll be truthful. I'll be really truthful, but usually when it does, there are a few Gundam series where they show the point of view from a Zaku's pilot. And it usually doesn't end well. I mean, I'm being truthful. It usually doesn't end too well. But that's okay. I think it's okay. Because we're kind of like showing, like, well, I was going to say boots on the ground, but, we know like what they're experiencing when they put steel on the ground, like metal on the ground. And I like that. I like the aspects of I try not to be political. I do like the politics of Gundam. I really do. And I think that's part of Gundam. Politics is a big part of Gundam. And a lot of people don't know, but Gundam is really about anti-war. Considering, I mean, like, doesn't matter, like, if you guys are seeing, like, people blowing each other up, killing each other. It's really about anti-war. And, nobody's not really safe from war. I mean, like, what, Armor was 17? 16? Char alone was 19. And Bright, which, by the way, I gotta say this. Bright was the most badass guy during the 1 Year War. 19 years old. Taking command of a ship full of civilians. I guarantee you, if Zeon had Bright Noah, Zeon would have won. No. Bright. If Bright was on Zeon, they would have won. All he had to do was line up every single Zeon soldier. All he had to do was slap them each one by one. Every single one of them would have a skill set Char would have. I'm telling you, Bright Noah. Oh, well. Hey, I mean, his slaps made Armor an ace pilot. It was some magic to the slaps, man. I'm serious. You're right. And for every finger, make sure all 5 of his fingers hit you, because it makes you 5 times better. Yeah. It is. But man, that's the thing, man. And War and Pocket is definitely like one of my top 5 Gundam series, because it really, like, before then it never really showed the point of view of a pilot besides Char. And Char was like, was on a mission. Like we know his goals. We know what his goals are. But we didn't actually see the average goal of a Zeon pilot. Like Bernie. Bernie was just a regular, pilot for Xeon. That's it. He was a rookie. And I gotta say, War in Pocket, if you guys never seen it, what are you doing? It's great. It's awesome. I recommend, if you guys never watch it, go watch it right now. Because I'm probably might spoil some things during the show. Period. I hated the story. No, I love it, but I hate it because what it led to. You know what I mean? You ever watch a show and then you got to the end of it, you're like, God, man, I wish I never finished it. You know what I mean? Ending was better, oof. But the manga actually had a different ending. Believe it or not, it had a different ending. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, guys, I'm gonna let you know right now. Tune away. We're gonna be talking spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2. You were warned. Yeah. So he lives in the manga.
Didn't they end up like hanging out again?
No, no, no. It ended where Howard's father. I think the kid's name is Howard. His father was reading the newspaper, and all it said was "Pilot lives." That's it. That's it. Doesn't say that they hung out. It doesn't say that they lived happily ever after or anything like that. It just says Pilot lives, and that's where the story pretty much ended at. But it makes me feel good about that. But at the same time, what happened in the show is pretty much canon. So I can't go to a Burger King's drive-thru and look at a nice looking cheeseburger, and I just can't think of it as the same anymore. By the way, we're not sponsored. We're not sponsored by them, by the way. Yeah, well, we got to disclose that, right? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I'm getting used to it. But I'm just trying to be careful. Yeah. Man, you know what? We got through with some things with the Zaku. Like I said, I had 20 other pages of Zaku's and stuff like that. Now, actually, let me skip through. I want to talk about another mobile suit that was brought up by the Zaku, and I'm skipping some mobile suit lines because let me actually look at something real quick. So we're an hour in. Okay, so I'll go ahead and brief this up real quick. I'll skip a couple of designs. Gyaradoga. What do you think about the Gyaradoga? Beautiful. That's it. Well, believe it or not, they also made a Zaku 4. Yeah. And I think it's called Sun, Mobile Suit Gundam Sun. They made the Zaku 4. It is a heavy duty type mobile suit, long range beam rifle. Oh man. Well, I gotta go through my notes to find it. But basically, it's very heavy duty, and it was only in the manga. That's it. That recently just came out. So it's actually a brand new mobile suit. Not much information's on it. It's brand new. But it's really nice. It's very heavy, bulky. It's very bulky. Has beam knuckles and everything. When I brass knuckles, it has beam brass knuckles. I could give you the model number if I could find it. It's actually on my list somewhere. Yeah, I think it was in Gundam Ace. Oh god, I bet you these. Yeah, Moon Gundam, yeah. Yeah, comes out 0091. Which, by the way, guys, Zaku, it's a Japanese term. It came from Zaku. My bad, Zaku. It means inferior fish. Which, the Zaku later became known as a common military machine. It actually symbolizes the realism of Mobile Suit Gundam series, which it does. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, did you see that one that looks like a very looked like a Sazabi on Slimfast?
Not yet. I'm running through the. I'm currently looking at the Federation suits. Just hit my head up.
Well, you do know you do know some Federation mobile suits using mono eyes, right? Because it was actually easier for one-on-one combat. Yeah, that's why Xeon kept on using it, because it was just better for one-on-one combat. I think to an extent, I think the Jagan uses a mono eye. Yeah, it looks really good. Which you remember the Moon Colony, right? Colony Moon from Double Zeta.
And I know that girl, Ilya Pazov. She was Mashimaru's close follower.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the reason why, we're skipping ahead to Gyaradoga, because, man. Oh, by the way, because, they made model numbers from type A to Z. It's a lot of variants. Yeah. And the R2, right? The Zaku R2 Zaku? Yeah, Zaku 2, R2. Yeah, it was actually nicknamed the Zaku 3 because how well it performs. Yeah. So, actually, yeah, while we're in the middle of a live stream, yeah, just leave it like that. That looks good. Ooh. Okay, let's see. But yeah, the one thing I like is they took a lot of inspiration as well from World War One. Ace pilots are able to color their mobile suits any way that they like, any way that they fit, customizations. But for the Gyaradoga itself, I love the Gyaradoga. I think it's like one of the better designs that came out. And then what led after the Gyaradoga was the RF Zaku. So some Gyaradoga pilots met up with the Mars division of Xeon, and believe it or not, the Mars Xeon still used their 1-year war era Zaku's and Rickdoms and Gelguds. So when the pilots from the Gyaradoga from Neo Xeon met up with Mars Xeon, they pretty much like gave their Gyaradogas to Mars to research and copy their tech, which made the OMS, which is Old Mobile Suit, 06 RF, which started the RF series, RF Zaku. Now, this RF Zaku, it looks identical to the MS-06 Zaku 2. Except it comes with a beam rifle, the shoulder shield actually had like twin machine guns built inside of it, which is like Vulcan guns basically. Its beam axe also doubled as a beam shield. It had a beam bazooka, a sea serpent, which you know what a sea serpent is, right?
That's basically an upgrade of the E-Rod.
Yeah, or what I call it, the giant taser. Yeah. So now the thing is this. Oh yeah. So since they used the data off the Gyaradoga, they pretty much took it and made it better. So this thing was not only took data from the Gyaradoga, but it was also better than the Gyaradoga. But it had one drawback. By the time it went in, full mass production, and Mars Xeon was ready to go take on the Earth, the Federation was already developing their miniature mobile suits, like the heavy gun. So they had a hard time, and they also came out with the RF Dom, RF Gilgud. They were just being taken up by the heavy guns and the G cannons, pretty damn well. Of course, they faced a couple of J-Guns as well. I think when it came to the J-Guns, they were pretty much overall handling the J-Guns well. It was just the newer models they had a hard time with. They also made an RF Zagok, by the way, too. There's RF. Well, I'm telling you, I went deep. I went in that rabbit hole.
What the? Goddamn, this thing looks fantastic.
Does it?
No way. Oh my goodness.
See, guys, this is why I like doing this show. I want to let y'all know some new stuff.
This is very sad.
You like that?
It just looks so cool. The RF also looks so nice.
Yeah, I really do like it. And if you guys ever played SD Gundam G Generation games, they actually have the RF army on there. You can use the RF Zaku, RF Dom. I think the RF Gilgug is on there as well. So, which by the way is still a fun game to play, guys. If you guys forgot about it or don't know anything about it, I would definitely recommend SD Gundam G Generation Overworld. It has every mobile suit like known to be on there. It's really interesting. But so Tivon, tell us about GBO2. When are you going to be start streaming?
So I know I usually use recording devices, but I think I'm starting off with just using the actual PlayStation streaming platform and upload the videos. Maybe that's possible. Just still figure out how to do that. So stand by on that. I think get my hands on a recording device as well because I feel like that would be better for universal gameplay.
Yeah.
Just got the battle operation and all that.
Yeah, man, I definitely should join you on that, man. We can probably do some like couple role plays, pretend to be like some Xeon top aces while like piloting a Zaku 1 versus like some S Gundams or double Zetas.
That sounds like slaughter and disrespect to Zaku, but we can try.
Nah, man. I mean, this whole episode is dedicated to Zaku's, man. We got to give them credit. They're known for hit and runs. If anything, every Zaku should be labeled as a raid unit. Yeah, there's a reason why they're known. Xeon went with a hit and run kind of unit, like they go like guerrilla warfare types. These mobile suits are known for guerrilla warfares.
Man, I have to ask you this though. How the heck did Marcion even afford all this?
Well, to be honest with you, after the 1 year war, they just kept their mobile suits. Most of them are just upgraded their frames. That's it. Yeah, it was. I think the early crossbone, yeah. But they spent many years over by Mars, so I'm pretty sure, they there was some type of settlement over there they got along with, or they took over. Probably even took over most of their resources as well. Because they were over there since, you gotta think, man, since like the heavy gun, which, let me look. According to my notes, so they were built in the year UC 122. So you gotta think, you had a group of Xeon remnants just chilling on Mars from 0079 and didn't leave to attack the Earth again until UC 122. Yeah, they just sat there just chill. You ever seen that movie called Iron Sky? It was basically like, this kind of reminds me of that. It's a weird movie. So it's about a group of Nazis who went to the moon and waited there for like the next, I don't know, like 50, 60, 80 years or so, something like that, like far from the future. Like they made like flying saucers and stuff to attack Earth. It's a weird movie. Yeah, I know. It's kind of right. I think that's why I'm so interested in the RF series.
These guys need to make it into battle operation at the least, at the very, very least. I didn't even know the RF existed. That is so neat.
Really?
Oh my goodness, that is love.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Like whenever I was on SD Gundam G Generation, I bought a whole bunch of them, man. I made a whole like regiment of them.
Like, they have a new Big Zom. Big Zom type, like, what?
Well, what's crazy is that the pipes on their faces, right? When it comes to the RF Zaku's, they're just dummies. They have no meaning. They have no concept. They just
Regular Zaku's just the pipes for nothing?
no for the RF.
Oh, okay.
Because well, the point of the pipes on the Zaku 2s was that so that way they could transfer the power more efficiently to one point to the other. That's why those pipes are there. But on the RF Zaku, by now, they already figured it out how to fix that issue. But they were so engulfed and in love with the Zaku design, they put those pipes back, but they don't do anything. They're just there for show. Yeah, so they were very determined to keep the design of the RF Zaku as close to the regular Zaku. Because, dude, if you look at the designs, it's very uncanny. It's exactly the same.
This has to come back. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, so it says here that although its outward appearance was virtually identical to the original MS-06 Zaku 2, but the outside pipes are dummies. It was constructed from modern material, making it much lighter. Similarly, its internal components were based that on the Gyaradogas, and because of an improvement in technology, The RF Zaku not only had a higher performance than the original Zaku, but it could even outperform the Gyaradoga in some areas. So I wonder if you were to compare it to the Gyarazzulu. It was better, but how much better would the RF Zaku be over the Gyaradoga, or is the Gyaradoga better? In terms of speed and motivability, it could not compare to the miniaturized heavy gun and G cannon mobile suits of that on the Earth Federation forces. We're deploying to replace the aging Jagan. Oh, they had an RF Big Zam and the RF Adam. Yeah, so they were trying to bring back the Big Zam, man. So, and their leader was so I forgot his name, but he piloted a captured Gundam F90, which they actually gave the F90 like a more Xeonic look. They even painted it red and even used an AI from Char Aznavour. Unit 2. Yeah, it had a biocomputer, so it had like the pilot skill set of Char Aznavour. While Unit... No, go ahead, Bubba.
I was gonna say, I know the biocomputer was bad. How to say to use it because it's teenagers.
Well, so was Nukes, but do you think they care? I mean, GPO2 running around with a damn nuke in his launcher.
Yeah, that was a breach of the treaty, wasn't it?
Yeah, big time. But then again, they weren't at war anymore. I wonder if that's a... Well, then again, if you think about it, Anaheim Electronics is an independent company. I mean, they sold to both sides. They really didn't care. Well, I think we got through everything. I mean, we skipped some of the minor stuff. We got to the Gyaradogas. We got to the RF Zaku, which, by the way, I'm glad you know more about the RF series. We got to some news, and you said that you want to be streaming soon. So, guys, look. Please look out. Please listen. For T-Von to be streaming his Gundam Battle Operations 2 adventures. Also, guys, we're not only just on YouTube. We're also on Spotify, Apple. Apple's a little tricky to work with, but we'll soon be on Apple as well. And I'm also working on Google Podcasts as well. We're going to be on all platforms. That's what we're working on. Yeah, very good as well. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. T1, what do you got? Yeah, for sure. Because look, we're starting out. I know we're not as impressive as any other bigger channels, but we're building. The only thing we could do is what? Improve, right? Yeah, right. So I mean, it's a goal. Definitely once a week. I'm planning on getting a video out there at least once a week. So, and like I said, guys, we're not just only on YouTube, Spotify as well. We're working our way on Apple and Google. So, yeah, that's all I got to say. T, why don't you say what you got to say? Unless you want to add anything else. Okay, that sounds good. Alrighty, my fellow engineers. Thank you for joining Gundam Space Engineers Podcast. Hopefully, everyone has a wonderful day or night, whatever time you're listening. We're always grateful for you guys listening. Until next time, my fellow engineers, this is Gundam Space Engineers. This is Freedom. Logging out.